Big week in real estate. We're going to find out if this market is about to break or is it about to bend next. Yes, we have several different articles. Number one, we're going to start off with the Kobesi letter, as we do every single Monday, going over this week's events, all today on Real Estate Daily. Welcome, everyone. My name is Troy, and every day we go over the latest news in real estate, housing, and the mortgage market. Now, it's the beginning of the week. We know that there's a lot going on. The Fed has not met in over a month and a half. And with that being said, they have made some bullish and bearish statements. But more importantly, we're figuring out what is actually happening out there and where are they taking this market. And I'm telling you that as the housing market has detached itself for most of this recession away from the other different industries, now it's starting to connect because the interest rates have now hit a certain height and people are kind of backing off and figuring it out. So we're gonna go over the Kobesi ladder. We're going over several other things, but before we jump into it, do me a favor, hit that like button. Really helps out the analytics here on YouTube, gets that channel out there. I'm gonna give you the best 5 to 10 minutes in real estate on a daily basis. Let's jump into the Kobesi letter right away here. All right, so every Sunday they put out what's going on at today's event or this week's events. So obviously Monday there's nothing, but Tuesday building permit data, housing starts data. So we're gonna see where the new builds are going. Now we have an article today on new builds and the sentiment, but we're gonna see where the new builds are going. On Wednesday, the Fed interest rate decision, and then which is on Wednesday, they're going to have a press conference. I believe if we were looking at what we're thinking it's happening, the market is reacting towards a stall again. They're not going to raise rates. I have a feeling that because the energy has gone up significantly, and we're still seeing the federal government hire people, and they're hiring, and the federal government's been hiring at a breakneck pace, and which isn't good for the economy, people. Hope you understand that. If they're hiring, they're taking away from the private sector, and we're starting to see, because of that, they're starting to see some of the small businesses fail out there or get into big trouble because they can't borrow money. Money's too expensive. All right, so press conference on Wednesday, jobless claims Thursday, existing home sales data, which is going to be very important for real estate, is on Thursday. And so this week sets up the rest of 2023. It's kind of crazy. This is, if you haven't given a follow over on X or Twitter on Kobesi letter, please do it. 120,000 views. Okay, check that out. 120,000 views. This isn't something that I'm just coming up with. This is a very important company that puts out this letter, Kobesi. Here's breaking news, actually, which is now, again, what we're seeing is a poor policy as spending goes out of control. It says, breaking for the first time in history, total U.S. federal debt crosses $33 trillion. Since the debt ceiling crisis, the U.S. has added $1 trillion in debt per month. This is insane. They're just spending. Why are they spending? Because they're trying to get those unemployment numbers down. And if they're down, it makes the Bidenomics look better. But in reality, you can only deficit spend for so long until you become bankrupt. And that's exactly where they're taking us into bankruptcy. Or they'll take us in inflation, one of the two. Either you're going to print more money to make up for the money that you're spending, or you're just going to get in so much debt that the rest of the world is going to sell off whatever debt they have of yours, which they've been doing. And because there's high interest rates, you're having U.S. citizens and companies buy the U.S. debt because they're giving such high rates until there is no way to pay it back, unless you just keep printing or the Fed taps out, which the Federal Reserve is not even part of the U.S. government, which has now put us into this nightmare that we've been going in on. So yes, this is very, very concerning out there for everyone to know that we cannot have, another year of this is really going to hurt us. cannot vote this back in. I mean, I don't see any way that the U.S. is going to recover from any of this if they keep in the regime that all they do is the money they're spending and more they're spending. Of course, the biggest part of the Inflation Reduction Act is that spending money on making everything green. Right? Green technology. That's not the way to go in a recession, right? You got to batten down the hatches in a recession. You just can't go out and say, well, screw it. We're making less money, but I'm just going to run on my credit cards. Oh, yeah. By the way, I don't have a credit card limit. Everyone would be doing that. All right. Let's jump into more real estate related topic. This is with what DS News. It says forbearance edges closer to pre-pandemic levels. Well, this is very good. We're not seeing that much out there in the way of forbearances. Forbearances were big when the bird flu, or I'll call it the beer flu, hit. And then everyone that couldn't afford it or people took advantage of it, they went into forbearance. Forbearance is a stoppage or a temporary stoppage of your mortgage payments, which then can be added on to the back end of the loan 20, 30 years from now, maybe even longer, right? Depending on the loan itself, where money is so much cheaper, and that doesn't hurt you, but it helps you get from point A to point B. Now, if we go back in 2008 when we had a housing crisis, the forbearances were not there. They didn't have very many forbearances. Such you had to foreclose on those people. Banks did, and then that turned into a mess with short sales as well as REOs. But you know what that did? It turned the market over and it kept things going, right? It temporarily had about a 3 to 4 year stall, and then the market started to slowly go up. And then 4 years ago, it's taken off. And now what we do is we have no inventory because we're keeping people into homes a lot longer, maybe than they should. Right. And I think that if you're in a bad situation, if you see that you got hurt at work and you had the job back again, or there was something that said that you were going to be able to get back into payments, forbearance is the way to go. But if you're saying, hey, I'm in a situation that, I lost my job and there is no other jobs out there that's going to bridge me, forbearance will bridge me between it, then sell your house, guys. Sell it. Grab the money and run. Take that money, put it in the bank. I've had a client that did that, had over $100,000. I had another client that jumped in the forbearance. And then after forbearance was over, they called me up and they said, hey, Troy, we're going to let it foreclose. And I said, no, let's go see what your house is worth. I ended up selling their house, another $125,000 in their pocket. Okay. You want to put that home on the market, right? Put that home in the market, bank that money. Don't go into a forbearance, because forbearance is you're just burning off your money unless you see, again, a light at the end of the tunnel. All right, homeowner settlement. All right, like I've told you in the past, if you see my girlfriend Diana Olick's face on TV close up, it's always going to be negative. And let's go read what it says. It says home builder sentiment goes negative for the first time in 7 months. Well, this is all to do with the Fed, and they're recklessly, raising rates for really no real reason. They want to say they want to slow the economy down, but if the federal government wasn't hiring in absolute, reckless hiring, right? Because we're hiring for what? We're hiring for more debt. That's all we're hiring for. Then we would see all this go down, and we would see small businesses wake up and hire those people that the U.S. government is trying to control, right? And that's what's hurting us right now. We also see that the numbers, if you go back and you look back at the numbers for the unemployment, they keep getting higher because it's being recalculated higher and higher and higher. Guys, what's going on here? We can't get anything near accuracy. Even the GDP went lower and lower the last quarter, the last couple quarters. It's been adjusted lower. Why? So we can just pump the numbers up front. Media sells it to the public, and then quietly we see the numbers all are much worse. But the Fed isn't looking at those back numbers. They keep looking at the numbers of today and then the future. That's what's hurting us. This country has got $1 trillion in credit card debt for the first time ever. ever. There's so many people in debt. There's so many homeless. They can't even afford a house. Yet the Fed says that we got to stop spending. Well, if you don't want to stop spending, close the damn border and stop 6 million people from rolling in here. And what are they doing? They're buying things. Again, they're buying stuff. So you have to make good decisions when you're looking at this. Whether you have 6 million people across the border, the Fed has to know that the issues are man-made. They're not economy-made. They are government-made. Okay, this is not to do with us spenders, us consumers. This is to do with the government putting us in a bad situation that's causing the Fed to make even worse even make worse decisions. All right, let's jump into interest rates. Saw conventional go up 3 basis points, and we just saw 15-year and jumbo just explode up again. We saw pretty much flat for FHA. I'll go over my next video tomorrow. I'm going to go over what I see out there that's happening in this. We're also going to go on Thursday. We're going to have a discussion about what's happening with the market here. We're going to see the numbers come out for real estate sales. We're going to, pendings, actives. We're going to see all that come out. So that's another good indicator of where this market is going. But right now, it's going to come down to the Fed on Wednesday, and typically they'll have a news conference on Thursday, the day after, but it says in here Wednesday. So we're going to find out whether they're hawkish, dovish, they're going to be one way or the next. We're going to find out. And I actually think that if they raise rates one more time, we're breaking the back of our economy, even though we're going to continue to see hiring from the federal government for garbage reasons. That's why, and that's why they want to break our backs. There is no question about it. Guys, thank you for joining me today. I don't want to make this political. I hate to make it political, but this is obviously a destruction of our economy. And now they're attacking even businesses, such as in the real estate industry, because we know that there's nothing here, that these interest rates should never be this high. There's no reason to have these interest rates this high, but the Fed does not want it to stop until they break small banks, mid banks, small businesses, housing market. They want to break all these markets. And once they break those markets, it's going to be hard to come back anytime soon. It's going to cause a recession, possibly a depression. You guys take care, and I will see you tomorrow.